everybody. Hi Katie. This video is for you. I basically I have a couple of questions, and this is also kind of an update video, and I also wanted to comment on a couple of things you had asked for comments on. I don't know if you got it, but I uploaded a video response to, I think, your drugs and alcohol video. And I talked about how I haven't personally struggled with this, but a lot of my loved ones have, and I talked about it from a loved one's perspective and what it does, like when your best friend doesn't want to, do anything, and what it does to your relationship, and or like I've had, and it's not just friends, I've also had family members who have struggled. So check that out. And I know that I did a video response to something else, but I can't remember, something else of yours, but I can't remember what it was for, or what the title was. I'm sorry. You had asked about college and how, or no, someone had asked you about college, and what to do if you have an ED and you want to go to college, or you're planning on going back because you've had to take a break because of your ED to get help, but you're scared now that you're out of treatment that when you go away from home again, it's going to get worse. My experience with that, first of all, I am going back to school this semester, but I'm not going to, like, get up out of the house and go get on the bus and go to school. I'm going to school online. I'm going to University of Phoenix. And I chose to do this for myself because a lot of things. I have a lot of health issues, totally unrelated to my eating disorder. One of them is related to my eating disorder, but it's also genetic. That thing is that I have GERD, which is gastrointestinal reflux disease, which is kind of like acid reflux disease, except that it's not heartburn so much. It's just basically a horrible stomach pain whenever I eat, and I have to take prescription medication for it. But that's something, and I have a lot of other issues that are totally unrelated to my eating disorder, and basically just complications of either my cerebral palsy or just things that are unrelated to my disability but that just make my life harder, like I have migraines. So, I could get a migraine, and that migraine could last for 5 hours. So, given that, plus all my mental health issues, I just felt like it would be better for me, both personally and for my education, if I did school online. I will leave a link down in the description for University of Phoenix, as well as some other places where you can get information about doing school online, if that's an option for you, if you would like to do that. There is also financial aid available, so don't worry about that, people. Another option as far as college is concerned is utilize the counseling services on your campus. make sure if you know, like, if you know of someone, like, say you have a relative that works at the school, and maybe you're really close with one of their professors, because say they're like a friend of, say your uncle works at the school, and like your uncle's like best friends with one of the English professors, and you've known that guy since you were little. If you have one of those scenarios going on where you're going to the school where you already know someone who you're comfortable with, someone who's a staff member or a faculty member, reach out to that person and say, hey, you know, help. This is what I'm dealing with, and you can just tell them however much you want to tell them. You don't have to tell them your whole life story. I mean, you can if you want to. But again, it just depends on your personal comfort level. And Katie, I kind of had an epiphany of my own when I was watching one of your FAQs where you talked about having an epiphany. You talked about somebody sending in the question about living in LA and living so close to the film industry and the music industry that's in California and all of that. And does it put pressure on you? And you said no. And then you mentioned that you had clients and former clients who had been actors and done theater and things like that, and that had put pressure on them. I was talking in an EDA meeting, and yes, I'm in EDA. I will put a link down in the description to Eating Disorders Anonymous. It is a 12-step group for eating disorders. So I'll put a link down there. They have meetings Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock. I think that's Eastern? Yes, it's my time, so it's Eastern time. So if you're on the Pacific Coast, if you're in California watching this, like Katie, it would be at 5 o'clock on Wednesdays, your time. But it's 8 o'clock my time. So I'll put a link down there. But anywho, you were talking about this, and I was talking with several ladies in the EDA meeting several weeks ago. I think this happened a couple of months ago, because the topic was perfectionism, and how our eating disorders always want us to do things perfectly, and how has that creeped up in your life in other ways. And some of the girls had started to discuss being athletes and wanting to always, like, one of the girls said that she was literally like the best person on her team, and that she got a college scholarship, and that's when her eating disorder started. Because in order to stay in college for this particular scholarship, she had to be on the basketball team. Like, she was on like the varsity basketball team, and she was a freshman, and most of the people on that team were like juniors and seniors. So like it was a really good opportunity, but it made her eating disorder just go crazy. And that sort of discussion, and a lot of people had other things that they mentioned too, like there were a lot of gymnasts and ballerinas in the group, and it was just a lot of us had some sort of a performance background, and I had never thought about it until that night, that Wednesday night meeting. But I've been a singer my entire life, as you can see if you watch my singing videos, and I'm really good at it. I mean, like, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I won a talent show in, I think, 6th grade. No, it wasn't 6th grade. I was younger because I had the pink chair. But anyway, I won a talent show at school, and I also in high school sang competitively. I went to competitions and sang, and I was really good, and I still am really good. So that, being on stage all the time, and being under those hot stage lights, and having to, wear the bright robes and always be in tune, and always hit my mark. Like, even now, if I mess up on a song that I'm singing, like on my stereo or whatever, if I have a CD in, I will start the song over. I don't just back up a line or two. I will start the whole thing over. I don't care if I'm toward the end, at the middle. I don't care. I want it to be right. And I think a lot of this stems from the fact that I really couldn't do much as a kid. Like, that was kind of my thing. It was sort of my calling card. And I really didn't care that I was known as the singer in my neighborhood and in my school. That everybody who knew me knew that I sang, because I figured being known as, oh yeah, Fallon, she sings, was better than being known as, oh yeah, Fallon, she's in the wheelchair, right? Like, you know what I mean? So I feel like, even though definitely singing had zero to do with my ED, I think being on stage, in fact, singing was an escape from it, an escape from some of the trauma that I had. Singing has been one of the greatest joys in my life. Singing, the piano, the poetry that I write, the songs that I write, that's all an escape from everything going on in my brain. But I think having to be on stage constantly and having to compete, like when I would go to these competitions, for instance, the ISMA competition, the Indiana State School Music Association competition, you are judged at the moment you walk into the room. You're judged before you even open your mouth or position your instrument, if you're playing something. You're judged on your professionalism. You're judged on, and they tell you this in the weeks leading up to the competition. You're judged on, if you're in a group, you're judged on whether or not the group is dressed like a group, and whether or not they match or at least coordinate somehow. You're judged on what else has nothing to do with the singing that you're judged on? You're judged on your professionalism. You're judged on your posture if you're a singer, because you can't really sing like this. Especially if you're doing, like, a Broadway show tune. You can't. No, you'd be like, somewhere, and it wouldn't come out right. So you're judged on your posture. You're judged on the way you're dressed. You're judged on whether or not your outfit matches, matches is not the right word, but whether or not it correlates to the song that you're singing. So, like, one of the songs that I competed with was Think of Me from Phantom of the Opera. So I wore a very pretty red blouse and a skirt, and I literally looked like I was going to go to church because I was wearing a dress, because that's what I felt. Christine would have worn something like that if any of you have seen Phantom of the Opera. In fact, Christine's costume for that song was much more elaborate. But because the song is set in an opera house, I felt like I had to dress the part for the song. Especially if it's a piece from musical theater, you're judged on your dress, and how you are dressed. And then of course you're judged on the song, your performance of the song, and you're judged on also on how you exit, and things like that. So you're judged for about 6 or 7 minutes straight, depending on how long your song is. And if it's a large ensemble, you might have a lot of stuff to prepare before you actually start performing. But anyway, so I think that constant pressure that gives you an idea of some of the things that I was constantly had in my head, as far as I wanted to be the best singer. I wanted to be the best singer I could possibly be. I pushed myself to keep up with Mariah Carey, Celine Dion, Gloria Estefan, people who really, really, really are great female vocalists. And to this day, even if I make a mistake, I'm kind of really hard on myself. So I think that's played a huge role into my eating disorder. I don't think that it caused it, but I think it kind of, in a weird way, even though it was an escape, I think it sort of fed into this perfection thing that I already had that was part of my personality. And I think it was incentive for me to keep doing what I was doing to myself. You know, because I thought, well, it started out with my ED. It initially started out, well, if I lose some weight, maybe I'll be able to move around better. It started out being a mobility thing. And then it snowballed as these things do. But good God, this is getting long. I'm so sorry. But I hope that this helps someone. Katie, thank you so much for that workbook idea. I wrote that down in my journal, in my recovery journal. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I have changed my URL for Tumblr. It's in Princesse Écriture. It means a princess writing. I had some of my work stolen, and by my employer, no less. And they stole one of my articles that I had turned into them so that they could, pay me and give me credit, give me my byline. And they chopped it up, tried to make it look like it was not mine, and put someone else's name on the review and paid that someone. So I have now licensed all of my work on my blog, and that's what I call my collective work. So I'll put a link. My actual Tumblr has not changed. The only thing that has changed permanently is my URL. So I will put that down in the description as well, along with EDA and other stuff. Katie, I need to know 2 things. Number 1, how do you deal with the loss of a duck, with the loss of a member of your treatment team that's been a member of your treatment team for a long, long time. Today will be the last day that my NP is going to be at the practice. And she and I just get along so famously. And it's really, really hard for me I trust medical professionals just innately because I've always had to, but it's really, really very hard for me to find a doctor who will listen to me and treat me like an adult and take my concerns seriously and not kind of be scared off by my raid of medical issues. And so she has gotten another job, and I have to stay at that practice because my nutrition doctor is there. I have to stay at the practice because my nutrition doctor is there, and she also wants me to see another doctor that I've seen a couple of times and I like. So she's not leaving me high and dry, but I really got close to her, and I'm very sad. And my other question is, and oh my gosh, this is going on 22 minutes. My other question is, how do you deal with someone in your family having an ED and struggling with mental illness when you yourself struggle with mental illness? Someone, I'm not going to name names, but someone I dearly love, who I I'd move mountains for this person. I would swim the ocean for this person. She hasn't told me that she is sick, but I know that she is. She gets very anxious around food and can't keep anything down. And I don't know what to do. So, I mean, this person knows about my ED, and she's been very supportive. But I don't know what to do because I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. But I can't. I can't not do anything. Bye, Katie.